Cheech and I were just talking a little bit about all the stuff that's going on in Ukraine, and he was discussing about how important the geography of the map and why certain parts of Ukraine, I know from like my religious teachings with my kids that Ukraine, that area has always been wanted by anyone in that region. It's so rich with resources and it's right on the sea. So tell us about what you were just saying to me.
Let's talk about where we were back in 2014 to where we are today. Of course, 2014 is when Russia invaded Crimea, and they took Crimea. They promised not to. That was one of the I think it was an accord that they had signed, that they would not invade Crimea. Then it was President Obama, and Ukraine badly needed our support, and we didn't give it to them. So when that happened, of course, Putin built a land bridge between Russia and Crimea. So that's where it started, the land bridge, and they took over Crimea. And when they did that, they also moved into the Donbass area, and that's where the fighting is today. The front is up and down along that part of Ukraine where it borders Russia. Donbass area where Kharkiv is. In fact, that's where, Alexander, he was there today, and he was heading his way to Donetsk. And
Yeah,
that convoy that was hit, unfortunately, he's doing better. He's in a military hospital, and he's resting. So, our brother is there, and the prayers that we gave him from this community, is helping save Alexander, because we want him back. We have to. The voice of Ukraine is important for what we do. Odessa. So when you look at a map and you take a look at where Odessa is in relation to the Black Sea and how is it connected to that part of where Crimea is, and then from Crimea, when you go from Crimea and you go west, which is where Kherson is, and heading over towards Odessa, and then Odessa is right next to Moldova. And
I'm pulling up my map. Sorry.
Pull up the map. Yeah, there is where Odessa is in relation to Moldova. They have 2 or 3 bridges that cross between Odessa into Moldova, and a lot of the supplies that come into Ukraine come across from Moldova into Ukraine. Russians are hitting the bridges, and they've also hit some of the railways, and they've hit the port, right? And the port is very important because of what goes through the port that actually feeds the world. That's where a lot of the grain leaves Ukraine.
The grain belt.
It goes out to the rest of the world. So when they hit the port, it was about 3 or 4 days ago, they hit an area that stores sunflower oil, like a vegetable oil. And that vegetable oil leaked into the Black Sea. And what happens when you get oil into water? So we have pollution that is there along the coast of the Black Sea. And when that happens, it has an impact on a lot of the environment and also birds.
Wildlife, yeah.
Well, I just want people to understand where everything is in relation to Odessa. You go further north, you have Poltava. That's another part of Ukraine that frequently gets hit. And then you go further north of that, that's where you have Kyiv. And then if you go to the east is where Kharkiv is. Kharkiv is roughly 25 miles away from the Russian border. It's not far.
Okay, I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah. The question is, were there any of the other Oleg's team hurt? There was 2 others that did go to the military hospital with Alexander. Um, I think they're okay. Lev actually went live. Oh, it might have been 2 hours ago, and Lev Parnas went live, and he reported that Olex is in the military hospital. He had some difficulty breathing, which they were able to help resolve, and he's getting better. So
It looked like he had an injury to his face.
yeah,
And
well,
what happened was it looked like the truck that they were in was hit. It was flipped over and
they went into a ditch.
yeah.
Fortunately, I'm going to assume it was a drone. We don't exactly know, but the drone hit close enough to the van that they were driving that they went into the ditch and then rolled over onto its side.
Okay.
And Alexander and two of the other gentlemen uh, were pulling the generators, all the supplies out of the van because they didn't know if the van
Fervently.
fire. So that we didn't want to lose all that. And I think everybody knows what we're doing with the generators. We have that the GoFundMe for um, generators for Odessa, and we also have the GoFundMe for Lev Parnas, and we have the GoFundMe for Alexander, where he's supplying the sanitary kits, the dry kits and the wet kits for people. So that's what he's been doing, is taking it to the front lines. So Alexander lives in Kyiv. So when you're traveling from Kyiv, he goes from Kyiv to Kharkiv, then Kharkiv to the front, where the Donetsk region is. So, and then he also went to Odessa. So he's all over Ukraine delivering aid to the Ukrainian people where they need it.
Um, what was I? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just reading
Yeah,
it.
I am too. And I was going to try to answer, but my S isn't working. So,
Well, I'm gonna
Susie Q, we don't know if he's had a concussion or not. There was not reporting on like exactly what had occurred.
yeah, that wasn't said. As you know, my prayers are with him, and I think I know everybody is doing the same. Um, what I do ask, and I'm asking for our Substack community, pray for Alexander if you can. I know it's the time of the year; it's not exactly the best time of the year to ask for donations, but try to help. Try to donate to the GoFundmes that we have.
Every little bit helped. And yes, I saw cash flow. I'd heard that too, that they were being chased by the drone, and that's what Levin said, right? That they were being chased, and then that's why they went in the ditch.
I haven't heard that, but I'm sure that that's what it was. I haven't heard
Yeah,
that.
it looked like. I mean, the pictures you could tell that they had been fervently. I mean, the generators are huge boxes, and they're not one person. I've got a generator. So me and my two kids have difficulty moving that thing. So I can't imagine them having to do that in an emergency situation of dragging something that weighs, 200 or 300 pounds, like to, yeah.
So of course I have family in Odessa, and it was a week or so ago that I think it was on a Sunday that Lev called me. Well, I have good news. He says, we're going to give you and your family a generator, because we had people in the house. And I said, thank you. I said, let me speak with my family. And I did. And we had that conversation. And I had already purchased a generator for them in Odessa. And we found a family that we could donate the generator to. So when I put that up on my Substack, young man, he's 22 years old. They have a 1-year-old child. Now they have a generator so that they can get electricity. Here's the challenge with having a generator: it requires petrol, and petrol is
That's
expensive.
so expensive.
It's like
And
$1.
the supply lines too, I would imagine
Yeah.
are difficult to get everybody to have petrol available. Is it, besides being expensive?
Well, it's $1.60 a liter. So if you do the math,
No.
our Canadian friend, you can do the math and how many liters are in a gallon. What does it take? So it works out to be a little over $6 a gallon for U.S. gallon for fuel. They can't run the generators 24/7 because it's too expensive to run. So I'm hoping that what we'll be able to do is there is the EcoFlow, ECOFLOW. EcoFlow is to be used. It doesn't require petrol. You charge the EcoFlows, but it's also able to use solar panels that will tie into the EcoFlow.
I've been so curious about that. Why isn't solar more of an
It is.
easier thing?
Oh, it is. They have. There's. In fact, I think it was Germany that is helping with solar panels. I did read an article where they are doing more solar. In fact, they're putting solar in hospitals so that they can continue to run. Germany's also been helping them with they use thermal, so thermal power plants that they've actually been able to get into Odessa.
Like geothermal?
Yeah, yeah, they use.
Interesting. I'm so glad that Germany's is stepping up the way they are. I mean, I think it's amazing.
Yes, I do too, and they need more. I say we because I consider myself if my family's there. You know, I consider myself part of that. Ukrainian crowd. So I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, there's so much to say about Ukraine.
Well, I wanted to give some good news because I don't know how to pronounce the city. It's called Kupiansk, and Moscow is fleeing it right now. They were attacked yesterday, and it looks like the Russian forces appear close to being pushed out of the northeastern Ukrainian city of Kupiansk, with only a couple of isolated troops left behind, and they're like coming out and surrendering en masse. So that's really great news. Um, and I also saw that there were some Ukrainian forces that were in Russia, and they kind of got the orders to leave a little too late. So that was kind of bad news. A lot of them got kind of stranded. There's a lot of chaos, but it sounds like they all got out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's good stuff going on, but also, I mean, when you're being hit with 650 drones on average a day and, 30 to 40 missiles.
Yeah. The good news is that Ukraine has developed their own long range weapons. So I know there was a lot of talk about the Tomahawks. Will they deliver Tomahawks to Ukraine? And honestly, in my opinion, and from what I've been reading, it's not. Tomahawks will not be the answer. They are developing they already have. There's like 2 or 3 long range missiles that they're able to use, and also what United Kingdom has been able to do. So United Kingdom has been supplying them with Storm Shadows, and Storm Shadows
Awesome.
have been hitting deep into Russia.
That's great. And they've been really strategic with their strikes too. Right? They've been getting a lot of their power sources and
they're
some of their oil refineries, and I mean they're doing some like strategic strikes.
Yeah, they don't target civilian areas like Russia does.
Not like Russia.
If you take a look at some of the stuff that I put up on my Substack and you watch it, you just shake your head and you're going, how is it possible that the Ukrainians still have the desire to fight, and they're never will give up. It's not it will not happen. In fact, I really find it hard to I won't believe it if they decide, if Zelensky says that they're going to give up part of the Donbass or all of Donbass. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, that I would hope that doesn't happen.
Well, it's Lev was saying, if this is not, we can segue into what's going on with Witkoff and Kushner. So Stephen Witkoff, think about this for a minute. Putin asked for him personally, did not like Kellogg. Why? Because Kellogg took a stronger stance against Putin than Witkoff. Witkoff is about the money. And so
Witkoff is an agent of Putin. He is a direct agent of Putin. All this research that I'm doing and Kushner is as well. Kushner's been groomed. In fact, I need to do more like looking in, but I even think that the marriage with him and Ivanka was more strategic, pushed in by Russia. I literally do. I mean, nothing is
Well,
off the table with Putin here.
if we want to go there about marriages, we can talk about Trump's three. The three that he had, they're all Eastern European, all of them,
Exactly.
all Eastern European, and
Honey pots.
you you have to think about that. What was that movie? It was called Red Sparrow, I believe. Um,
Oh, right. Yes, it's a thing.
yeah, it is.
It's not conspiracy. This is a real thing.
Yeah, it's
And
real.
the psychological profile of Putin, I mean, he is literally, when he went out of power before the fall of Russia, he was planning this if he ever got back into office, and he manipulated that situation and used a lot of these men who enriched themselves at the collapse of Russia. And that's why I wrote that paper today about Blavatnik. I've been researching him all week, and I'd sent Lev something because I was like, Lev, I DM'd him. I'm like, if anybody knows about this guy, it's you. Tell me everything. And I didn't hear back from him, but then he wrote about it today, and I was like, okay, I'll put out my paper today because Blavatnik he's quite a character. He looks amazing on paper. I believe that he's exact chess piece in Putin's game. They really made him sort of an intermediary where he's a citizen of the United States and of the United Kingdom. So he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth. He does a lot of business with Americans and Europeans. He's like the perfect sort. I said it like Trojan horse for Russia as far as business, and he's donated to both sides of American politics. Like he donated to Biden. None of them turned down his money. Biden, you know who else? Schumer. So when Schumer hasn't been like, stepping up and doing stuff, I would not be surprised if this guy is not in the Epstein files. He's in the Pandora Papers. He's in the Panama Papers. He's around.
Yeah, well, thankfully we have Ellie Leonard. Ellie is her work or what she's doing with the Epstein files as they're coming in. Um, I mean, thankfully, Ellie's doing an awesome job. And from what I'm seeing, she's digging deep, finding those little breadcrumbs that are there within the Epstein files. I want to throw a question out to the live chat. How many of you have watched Nuremberg? And I'm talking about the current one, the one that was just released in November 12th.
Just last year.
This,
Oh, there was it this year. Just like I was released on my birthday.
Yeah. So think about it when you watch that. Did you think about the parallels between then and now? Did you catch all those that were there? And again, this is not fiction. This is a factual story. Factual what happened in Nuremberg. And when they interviewed Goring, they had a psychiatrist that did the interview. He was an army psychiatrist, and he got very close to Hermann Goring. Actually got close enough that he would go visit Goring's wife and daughter and got to know them on a personal level. Goring was a very smart individual, and he said to that psychiatrist that I'm going to win. I'm going to win that trial.
Is this movie fictionalized? I mean, it's based on a real story, but it's not the footage from Nuremberg, is it?
Oh, well, they might have. Maybe they embellished certain parts of it, but the actual factual
part. It's a recreation. It's a recreation
trial.
Yeah.
Well, the goal was, of course, and originally and I don't want to spoil this for everybody if they haven't seen it, but watch it and draw the parallel between what was happening then into where we are now. And there's certain things, lines that are within the movie that when he comes up and he said, well, they asked the question to Goring, if Hitler was alive today, meaning in 1945 when they had held the trial before he committed suicide, would you still accept Hitler as your leader? And he thought about it, and he said, "Absolutely, yes." And then he just
Wow.
yeah, wow was right. So, and they said, "Well, why did you were 3rd in line for command, and you were responsible for all of the, camps."
Atrocities. Yeah.
And he said, "You're saying that you didn't know what was going on." And he said, "No." He says, "I would delegate the responsibility to the commanders that were in um, the you know, where they were."
I can't believe that.
And they said,
How
"Well,
did he not know? It was the agenda,
what was the question?" And,
especially at the end.
of course, so they had a letter that he had signed, and they put it in front of him, and they had him read it. And, of course, it was in German, and they had to translate it, and he says, "Well, you didn't translate it correctly." But when it got to the very end, and then he admitted that he knew what was going on. So, anyway, we're talking about the Nuremberg trials. I kind of got off track here and off into the weeds, but the reason I bring it up is that when you go ahead and do a Google AI search about the Nuremberg trials, it asks AI to do the comparison between then and now. Wait till you read what it says.
AI is shockingly honest about these things. I've asked it some crazy questions like that, and I mean, I asked it one time, is Trump following what Hitler did? And it
Right.
literally laid it out in 2 columns. It is the exact same strategy, exactly the same strategy.
Yeah, scary.
Very scary stuff.
It's in a way, I always say this, that history repeats itself, and
Ridiculous.
and I'm praying that it doesn't. But the gentleman, the psychiatrist that was involved, he wrote a book about this, and they told him, he said, "Well, you shouldn't write the book," but he wanted to write the book to let everybody know, so that it would never happen again, right? And his book failed. It wasn't popular. So this psychiatrist ended up kind of going
Do
off
you
the
know it, the psychiatrist's name?
it's in the movie. I don't remember his name, but he
I
went
gotta look that up.
he went off the rail. And by the way, Hermann Goering did commit suicide in the prison. He somehow
He
had
had a cyanide, didn't he?
cyanide, and this psychiatrist, he actually committed suicide, and guess what he used? Cyanide. So he went out the same way that Hermann Goering did. But
Yeah.
it's
I remember that I saw the documentary of the actual footage, and that's available, I think, on Netflix. I watched it not that long. I saw it years and years ago, and then I watched it recently again.
yeah.
Yeah, and both those guys, yeah, they never admitted that they knew anything or were part of anything, and then went in the back room at the courthouse and killed themselves.
Well,
Yeah,
I think he committed suicide in his cell, right before,
yeah,
um, right before they were going to hang him. And, they had said during the trial that if they were able to take down Hermann Goering, then they all would go down, and that's exactly what happened. They take down one, they
yeah.
took all down. But it was interesting when they took a look at they went back as far as World War One, and when they were asking the question, you know, World War One, because the Germans were defeated, and their economy, struggled, they lost they didn't have their they didn't feel like they were, Germans any longer, right? And so when Hitler came along in the 1930s, he was able to, appeal to the masses, and he said he was gonna make Germany great again. Where have we heard that before?
Ah,
Where have we heard
ah.
that again? So, yeah, he used that. Exactly, Tamara. I'm just reading it in here. So same as Trump.
What makes it so disturbing to me, though, is Miller, especially since we were talking, me in the chat was talking about Miller.
right.
I mean, and Trump too. They have these really bizarre fantasies about Hitler. They have what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, they have put him on an altar in their minds that they worship Hitler in this way, and they have these crazy fantasies. You guys see it with the cosplay. I mean, there's a lot of fantasy going on with these people. They're not necessarily tethered in reality very much anymore, and that's where I have to be furious with the cohorts that are involved, because where is the adult in the room?
I don't know. That's why, with what we're doing in the Substack community, yes, we want to take, Trump needs to come down. His whole regime needs to come down. But I want everybody to understand that we're fighting for democracy in Ukraine. And the democracy in Ukraine, if we win in Ukraine, if we win the democracy, if we win that for the Ukrainians, then we'll win here. They go
Exactly.
hand in hand. So that's why we need to support Ukraine. Europe understands this. And I've read, people saying, well, Europe doesn't know, they can't get their act together. No, that's wrong.
They totally know what's going on.
They know what's going on.
Way more than Americans do.
Well, take a look at, and I'm sorry for rambling on, but this is, for me,
ramble away. That's why we're here.
I have if everybody know what a soapbox is, so if I need to get off my soapbox, just say, Frank, Cheech, get off your soapbox. But take a look at the Baltics. And then you have Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is there's an enclave that goes between Poland and Lithuania. It's actually attached to this little, they call it the Swigali Gap, that goes between Belarus and Kaliningrad. That's the only way that Kaliningrad can get supplies from Belarus and from Russia. Okay. Also, Poland uses it because that allows travel to be able to get up into Lithuania because of where Kaliningrad.
Yeah.
Now, Kaliningrad used to be called, was it Königsberg?
Koenig, yeah, but it just did that.
Or to Germany, right?
Julie.
Yeah. So anyway, when you take a look at where Kaliningrad is, and then you have Lithuania, and then you have Estonia, and then Latvia, and then you go further up along the Baltic. All of those countries are already preparing for what they feel is going to be the inevitable. That at some point, Russia is going to try to push into that area of the Baltic states, where the Baltic Sea is. Now, Kaliningrad is there, and that's between Poland and Lithuania. Russia knows this, that it's an area that could be easily targeted. And they've already moved in, I don't know how many thousands of additional troops into the Kaliningrad region. Kaliningrad is actually, it's where they have a lot of their ballistic missiles, nuclear missiles. They're in Kaliningrad. So there's a lot.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's close to Poland, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you have Poland. Poland is right there. So you have Poland, and that borders Belarus. Then if you take a look at the map where it shows Kaliningrad, you're going to see that the gap. I think it's Swigali Gap, SW. I don't know how to spell the exact name, but the gap is right there.
This map sucks. I'm sorry.
It is scary. I agree. It's scary because, Putin, his goal is to reestablish the Russian Empire. That's why he says, when he talks about Ukraine, originally, Ukraine, he said that they gave that away to the Ukrainians. And then later he said it was that we didn't give it away. It was a gift. So now, he's changing the
changing history.
Well, again, who else is trying to do that? Exactly. erase history in order to embellish himself. Putin does the same thing. Yeah, I'm just reading it.
Well, I was just looking here because I have friends in Poland, and their airspace has been invaded by drones. And I didn't know this, but did you guys know that there have been multiple like sabotage things that have happened in Poland, which I didn't know about? There was, where did I just see it? There were fires and um, yeah, sabotage incidents in Poland, such as warehouse fires, railroad sabotage, and they're trying to create division there and test the security of what's going on. I mean, you're right. I mean, this is a world takeover, and what I've been told is that Putin wants all of Europe, and that Trump is going to take all of the Americas, including Canada, all the way down to South America, and then
Oh, you want to
China, Xi Jinping will supposedly have Asia. So I mean, this is what the supposed plan of the people are, of the sociopath.
So when
Uh,
you look at Ukraine and you look at Odessa and look at where it is in relation to where Crimea is, and that bridge that comes over from Russia into Crimea, then go west,
yeah,
and the next country is Moldova. Now, Moldova is not a NATO country. However, they do have they kind of follow some of the Article 5 policies of NATO.
they do.
And then you have further than that, now you have Romania, and then to the north of that, what do we have? You have Poland. So
Yeah.
if Putin gets his way in Ukraine, he will go to Moldova. There's not any doubt. He goes to Moldova.
Yeah.
It's not a NATO country. Are we going to step up? I don't think you're going to find Trump stepping up. I do
But
believe,
what do we think Hungary's going to do?
yeah, with Orban.
But the people are so against Orban right now, right? Haven't they been? They've been really protesting against him.
Yeah, yeah. Putin wants everything. No, there's no doubt. It. I was just reading the Jay Shands. You're right. Putin wants everything. He doesn't want to give up anything. He's and
No, he's been planning this. He's been planning this like a chess game and sitting back and having these plans and really just sitting back with his chess game. He's got all the pieces. He's manipulated all these people. The psychological warfare worked out great.
so when
Blavatnik. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
right. Well, that you're right. So when he took Crimea, or he was before he went into Crimea, it was John McCain, Senator John McCain, and he did an interview with the BBC, and it's still out there that you can see it. He predicted that if we let Putin get away with what he was currently doing at the time, that Putin would invade Crimea, that he would build a land bridge,
Wow.
and I mean, he nailed it. It was 100%. You can search for it. It's out there. BBC. You search for John McCain BBC interview. It was just before, a couple of years before he passed away. Well, prior to 2014.
This is what's so mind blowing to me, that so many Democrats seem to get on board and accept Russian money and anybody halfway was entertaining that Putin is not the enemy. We always knew psychologically he came from Cold War Russia. It's not like he had some major life change where he changed his worldview. His worldview is sociopathic. I mean, he meets the criteria for antisocial personality disorder. He's classic sociopath.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to change. This has always been his plan, and he's always never told the truth. He's a pathological liar, master manipulator.
So, I mean, I can talk forever, and that's not fair to, for you, Cat, because
Well, go ahead. I mean, we're here to talk. That's why we're here. Normally, I'm the one. I hate coming on by myself and have to talk for the whole hour, so I'm really enjoying this. Is a treat.
I get my colleagues and I try to get their ear, and they look at me and they're going, "Stop."
I I hear you. Nobody wants me to talk to them, so I really appreciate all y'all being here and letting us like chat about all the stuff that like bothers me all day long.
Um, so,
Yeah,
so
it's mind blowing.
in the live chat, do we have any questions in the live chat? Is there something that anybody has one particular question or they want to ask?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions about what's going on in Ukraine? Um, like I said, well, I guess I sort of covered all the stuff that I was going to cover about Ukraine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good information online, and it's a shame that we are. I mean, honestly, to me, this week is where it really seems like American media is just over.
So
And Katie,
Rebecca asked a question. My apologies, Kat. She says, I want to know if you can donate through Substack. Not directly through Substack. There's GoFundMe's that are in. If you go to Lev Parnas, if you go to Lev Parnas's website, and take a look at um, his
if
page.
someone has a GoFundMe, put it up because I don't have it on my computer. It's on sadly on my phone. If Ludmilla's still here,
So
Ludmilla put it up a minute ago.
Julie wants to know, how do I meet my Ukrainian fiance? All right, so that's a story in itself.
I want to
Um,
hear.
all right, I'll tell you.
Spill the tea.
It's about 8 years ago. I traveled. Um, I decided that I wanted to go to Croatia, Zagreb, because it was used to be part of Yugoslavia. Okay, and I traveled to Zagreb, and I was there for about a week, and it was an interesting city to see because it's you could see the part of the Soviet bloc, the buildings that were there. That style. They're very Spartan. They're all made out of cement. They have very small windows. And then you see the rest of Zagreb, which is the old part of the city. Um, the contrast between the Soviet style buildings and then the new part. So and I wanted to experience visit and seeing other people and getting to know them. So I had a hotel that was with a Hilton property. I flew into Zagreb from Boston to Munich to Zagreb. Got into Zagreb and I said, okay, how do I get to the hotel? And they said Uber. And I said, really? She says, yeah, that's okay. So I took an Uber from there to the hotel. Now I checked into the hotel and came downstairs and went to I call it a bar. They don't call it a bar. And I was there at the bar and I noticed there was a photo shoot that was going on in their garden area. The photo shoot was there and it was like a wine tasting session and they had models that were there. And that's where I met her. Now, the interesting part of it is that, she's Ukrainian. I don't speak I don't speak Russian. I honestly I don't know the language, but she spoke English, and I'm having a conversation with the gentleman at the bar who happened to be Russian, and he did speak English, and we were talking about how Croatia was going to face Russia in the World Cup uh, that was coming up, and she had walked over and she was hearing the conversation, and then she said, "Oh," says you're from the United States, and that's how I got to meet Mike Bianca. So it over a period of
Oh,
time, we would communicate. Um, Actually went back to Croatia a second time, back to Zagreb because I wanted to be there when Croatia actually beat Russia in the World Cup. That was an interesting time, but anyway,
how
that's
much fun! You were there when they won.
yeah, that was one big part
Oh
of it.
my gosh, that was probably what I was going to say. I mean, because Europe takes their soccer so seriously.
Yeah,
I was in Spain when they went to the World Cup, and it was really wild. I mean, all of it. Yeah, it was really cool.
so fast forward to February 2022, which is when February 24th, 2022, that's when Russia invaded Ukraine. And um, I reached out to her just to see how she was doing, and things just continued developed. So that's where I met my fiance, and we've been planning this now for 3 years. The challenge of getting into Ukraine, and it's the same if you were going to Russia. You have to be invited. There's an invitation that has to come from um, somebody in Ukraine with a passport.
Really?
Yes, and then that invitation, that invitation goes, and they would have to get my passport, which I have. Now they can process a visa. This part this is the part where it's I should write a book. What had happened is she got in an automobile accident, and you get in the automobile accident in Ukraine, the responsibility of the driver, if you're at fault, you have to pay for the damages to the other vehicle as well as compensate for any lost, here we call it lost wages. They have to pay, and that had to get taken care of. Now, when that happened, they take her passport, and they don't want you to leave they don't want them to leave the country if they owe a debt. Fast forward again, we paid the debt. We had to take care of fixing the vehicle that she was driving, and now they have her passport. Because of the war and because of the fact that
Oh,
it took an inordinate amount of time in order for them to give her passport back. Once she gets the passport back, which is supposed to happen January 5th, then I can get my visa. Once I get the visa, then I'm traveling to Odessa. I'll go to Moldova, and I'll either take the train, because now there's a train between Odessa and Chisinau, or she'll drive to the airport and pick me up. But that's a true story. Um,
um, that's amazing. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, you guys, I heard that Melania moving trucks. They have video of it. She moved out of Mar-a-Lago like last week,
yeah, she knows
right
when
before Christmas.
she she knows when it's time to get the hell out.
Well, I'm sure the Epstein files I mean,
I,
somebody finally probably told her about him.
I
I
shouldn't,
don't know.
but everything that I'm telling you guys is true. As I said, because the whole ordeal with the passport, and some of you that have heard when I'm on with Lev, we talked about it. In fact, there was one time that Malcolm said, "Brother, you're going to Odessa. I'll go with you." And I said, "Sure." You know,
How much fun would that be to go anywhere with Malcolm?
and even Lev wanted to go.
Oh, that would be so cool. But he can't leave, can he?
Oh, well, he's trying to get permission, and just like me, where I'm waiting to get my visa. And once I get the visa, we have a house in Odessa already. That's
Oh,
Well, it's not like I don't have some place to go. We have a house. But anyway,
oh man, I hope they go with you. That would be so great for y'all to do a show from there. Because, Lev had always said that he wanted to show us Odessa. Or, or I know that Alex had said
Blues and Bob, the Three Amigos.
that would be so
Yeah,
fun.
I'm thinking with Malcolm. I think there'd be between Malcolm, myself, and Lev. I've got a feeling there'd be a little bit of trouble. But
I think that would be fun trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble.
when I
I
do,
see now what Lev is talking about. There's a huge delay, you guys. This is normally not like this. There's a huge delay on me at least. Um, well, let's go ahead since there's only like a few minutes left. Let's start talking about what happened with Lev and Michael and
yeah, oh boy.
Midas Touch.
So I called Lev right after uh, that ordeal with Cohen, and talked to him, and he said to me, I said, "Well, Lev, I don't, I don't wanna speak bad about your friend." And he goes, "He's not my friend." He said, he's in a think of him as a business associate." I said, "Okay." Now, this whole deal with MTM, I was on that with the video Substack, and I was asking questions because it's like, where's the transparency, guys? Where is it? Where do you get your information from? Can you tell me that? And Lev asked the same questions. I wanted to know, where are their sources, right? Where are the sources?
I know some of them. I tried to get a job with Ron Filipowski. Ron does most of their research, if I'm not mistaken.
But here's the thing, Cat, is for me, right? The research that I do, I mean, I'm not in Ukraine, but can I get information about from what's going on in Ukraine? Yes, absolutely. Do I believe everything that I read? Hell no. But how do you confirm it, that information, to validate it? It's because you can go to different sites and then also check to see if they're reporting the same thing, right?
Exactly. And if they're reputable, a
And
reputable site.
everything seems to tie together, you can connect the dots, okay, then let's do it. The pictures that you'll see that I put up, I'll get them. We have Live Ukraine, they're on the Telegram channel. You have United 24 Media that's on Telegram. There's a couple of others that are there, that they're very good about reporting as what's happening at that moment. And, you're gonna see on my Substack that there's a young lady that's in Kyiv, that she's on Substack, and she reported the sirens that were going off in Kyiv. Our time was 6:24 here on the East Coast. It's 7-hour difference between here and there. So do the math. What time is it? It's 1800 our time. There, add 7 hours to it. So it's in the very early,
Yeah.
right? And now she's on her Substack. She's saying, I have to go into, I have to make sure that I go to a safe area. Those are the things that I'm able to see. There's also someone else that's on Substack that she bakes. You're going to see that, sometimes I'll restack her stuff. That she goes from Kyiv, she may go to Kharkiv, she goes to different parts of Odessa, where they were making bread to hand out. I mean, these are the things that, as a
That's so
as a community, this is what they do, though, Cat, is they help each other, right? Help each other. So I'll go back to the story about Lev and Ben, right? So Ben, it wasn't Ben that was on. It was one of the other ones, and I'm asking questions, and Cohen was on, and I said, "Well, I want to know
Oh, I didn't see this one then.
where was." I said, where is the reporting on Ukraine?" I said, "I'm not seeing it." And I'm putting it up in the questions, and I'm also in, and I just wanted to know, and I didn't get any answers. So okay, so now I'm sorry, Cohen wasn't on that. It was somebody else, I'm following at the same time. So now, fast forward to when Cohen was on, and I'm asking questions, and this is right after Lev had his explosion, rightfully so, in my opinion. People were saying, "Well, he shouldn't be airing dirty laundry." What dirty laundry are we talking about? This is not dirty laundry. This is a father that is trying to protect his son, from what MTN was trying to do, right? And shame on Cohen for not talking to Lev first. Now, there's stuff that's going on behind the scenes that I'm not privy to. And in fact, if I was, I wouldn't say it, because it's between Lev and Ben, and it's between Lev and his son, right? So here's the, when we finally get down to it, Ben was on a call, on a live with Lev, right? I'm put in the chat asking questions to Ben, right? Where's the reporting?
Yeah.
Where's the, where's the information on Ukraine? Why don't you guys support generators for Odessa? And think about that. I put in the Substack in the chat. As you think about it, with you have guys that are on 1 million followers. If you got behind the Odessa, generators for Odessa, think about how many generators that we'd be able to get for Ukraine.
Yeah.
What did I hear? Crickets. I mean, he didn't say anything, but you can see his reaction. So somebody, it must have been
Well,
MTN.
Lev asked him. Lev said, "Well, you could easily get $100,000 like right now for generators, and like."
So
and then
so I'm throwing up the GoFundMe link for the generators, and I put it up, and I kept asking, why don't you guys put this on your website? And MTN, somebody from MTN came in and said, it's on our site now.
okay.
Wait, I went and looked. You tell me, if anybody of you can find that, I'll buy you dinner. Because I'm not seeing it. And this was yesterday. I didn't look today. And somebody says they're pulling down over 1 million a month. Ask me how I know.
Are they really?
Yes, Cynthia. Yeah, she says MT is pulling down over 1 million a month. Ask me how I know. Right?
How do you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would not have I knew it was a large sum, but I would not have guessed anywhere near that amount.
So, Natasha, you asked what was the question? The question was, is the link that for the GoFundMe for the generators, they were supposed to put that link up on their site, on their website.
I don't see it. I'm not seeing it.
Not zip.
Nothing about Ukraine.
Nothing.
Zero about Ukraine.
Right. Nothing.
And yesterday was a huge day in Ukraine. I mean, it's Christmas Day, and there was, 635 drone attacks and 30 missile attacks. There isn't anything about Ukraine here at all. It's all Trump. It's all sensationalized Trump stuff.
And you can tell I get wound up talking about it because I'm very passionate about, support for Ukraine. So is it Lev. And when we talk about where, we know, and we get to see the pain that the people are going through. I put up a video on my Substack.
I'll search Ukraine right now in your search bar.
I put up video on my Substack of a young woman and her son. They're from Odessa. They're in bed. They don't have heat. They haven't had electricity for 6 days. How do you think they keep warm? So what they do is they heat up bottles of water, and they put the heated bottles of waters under the covers so that they can stay warm.
Yeah, and you have to do that every couple of hours. It doesn't last for more than a couple of hours.
This is what they have to do. So this is why, I mean, it's like, God, how difficult is it? We've been asking about the generators for it seemed like for weeks. And then somehow Lev and Alexander were able to get generators into Ukraine. I know how much they cost. I bought two. One for my family and one for another family.
Which ones did you get?
Well,
how much were they?
They're just like what you saw that Olex has. One of them.
I couldn't tell. I looked at them because I just bought a generator a couple of years ago for us as well, and I bought kind of a smaller one. I think it has like six AC/DC plugs.
Well, see, here's the chance.
Could run the refrigerator and a couple of other things.
Somebody asked me, well, can they have a generator? Somebody from California said, I have a generator. I can send it to Ukraine. And well, first off, cost of you getting a generator from California to Ukraine, right?
Yeah, wow.
That it's a different, voltage. I mean, it's not the same. So,
Right.
it wouldn't be feasible.
I hadn't even thought of that. Yes, you have to get them in Europe.
Yeah. So these generators, are anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a piece, depending on the
Oh
size.
shit. Yeah, I think the one I got was like 14 to 1600. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
a cheaper one.
how I know I paid for one too.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I know you bought it.
I
That's so
did.
sweet that then Lev gave you one.
Yeah, Lev gave me one, so that's why we donated it to a family. But there's other families that are in desperate need. So, uh,
Yeah, Natasha should have to go on a slow boat from China. I don't know. From California, I don't know.
Natasha said you'd have to send it by sea. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. Slow boat,
If I
China sort of
send it
thing.
by sea, well,
I literally am on the NTN site and went on their search bar, put in Ukraine, there's nothing. And then I put in donate to Ukraine, nothing. But man, there's nothing here.
so there you go. So if you listen to Lev this afternoon, he made it very clear. If you're going to support MTN and you're going to support Michael Cohen, if you're going to give them money, don't follow Lev, don't donate to Lev.
Okay, wait. See, I didn't catch that.
He did.
I heard him say that about Michael, but I did not think he said that about
He said,
MTN, did he?
he said he was going to. Well, he was going to talk. He said he's speaking to Ben. So maybe I'm
He
wrong.
said he's okay with I thought he said he's okay with Ben.
Yeah.
But listen, I have to say this because I've been saying this about Michael for a while. Since Natasha was on when he pulled you up that time, Natasha, and then he pulled me up and there was like a weird deal. Since then, because he had just gotten angry at his paid subscribers, like was yelling at us when the Epstein files came up. And he starts screaming about the timeline. Like it has nothing to do with me. I wasn't even there, and blah, blah, blah. And that was 2006. And this was blah. Okay, Epstein was arrested around the time when Michael got hired on with the Trump organization. And then once Epstein was convicted, Michael got a promotion. And the Trump organization is very small. So at least that alone told me that, hey, why are you yelling at us when you just are yelling in the timeline in that way that you're yelling to like have me cower because you're screaming to where I don't understand what you're saying, or I just believe you because I want you to stop screaming. But he's like yelling that he was involved at the time that Epstein was going to prison or were getting convicted and he got a promotion. And I thought he knows way more about this than he's telling. Besides that, your behavior when I was watching some show the other day where a guy was breaking up with his wife um, because he picked up her phone and started like looking at the time or whatever on her phone. And she runs over there screaming at him. And that's when he knew right away that she was cheating on him. And I was like, that's how Michael is. The second you bring up Epstein, anything, it's a defense mechanism that usually implies guilt. And then so for him to go on with Nick and Ellie and Zev, and Ellie and Zev are the Epstein experts of the United States or the world,
Well,
and then
in my
he was
opinion,
uncomfortable.
Zev asked the difficult question, and that should be which needed to be asked. And Michael chose to flip out because
Right, as abusive, verbally abusive to Zev,
yeah,
and then straight up lied to us, to Nick.
yeah.
Nick was pushing, and he lied.
So there's people in the chat. So they're saying, well, when they ask Michael questions, that Michael, reads it and then sometimes, kind of blows them off, right? So it wasn't yesterday, maybe it was the day before that I was on, and I'm doing my thing. I'm asking Michael questions because Michael's saying, well, he never invited me. Well, yes, he did because I was in the chat when he invited you. So yes, he did invite you, and he also invited Ben, and Ben didn't respond.
He did.
Neither did you, Michael. And
Popak was in the chat. And I was like, oh, legal AF. I was like, hi, Stinny, hi, whoever. And I was like, Popak.
here, I was there. So anyway, he says, I know who you are, Cheech. I know who you are. He says, you have a podcast. I don't have a podcast. I don't have a podcast. And I said, okay. And he says, you get on with Lev. He says, and you can take that with a grain of salt. And I started to laugh. I mean, my neighbors probably think I was going crazy because I roared when he said that. It's like, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But what do they do when you're sitting at the fountain, the Trevi Fountain in Rome? You take salt and you throw it over your shoulder, right? Am I right? I'm asking the people
I
if you've ever
that's good luck.
if you've ever
Yeah, I guess so.
been to Rome and you're at the Trevi Fountain, that's one of the things that you do is you have salt and you salt or you have a coin and you throw it over your shoulder. Anyway,
Look, I'm not saying that some people have DM'd me and asked me if I, that they thought, well, they thought that Michael had PTSD. Michael was in solitary confinement. He was treated really poorly in prison. But let's be frank, if you're going to have the PTSD sort of response, why would you have it about Epstein? It makes no sense, unless you know more about Epstein that you're not sharing. And I'm not implying guilt at all. But I just think he knows more, and maybe he just feels the need. He still protects Trump. Like just today, when I was listening to him, he was protecting him on the dementia thing. When
yeah,
I was just listening to Dr. Bretner. Oh my God, this guy, he does duty to warn. He's a psychiatrist, and he studies brain function, and he was laying out the argument of Trump's dementia and this whole show that I was listening to. So Michael to come on and just go, that's not it, that's not it. Michael hasn't even talked to Trump in 8 years or however long, right?
yeah, I I don't have anything personal against Cohen. I don't know him, right? And all I know is what I have read. But when you're a psychiatrist, right? So
No,
when
because I know psychologist.
psychologist,
I'm not licensed. I'm not licensed. I do
anyway,
research.
how do you read people? By looking at their facial expressions, right? And the eye to eye contact. So and the work that I do, sometimes I have to do Zoom calls with my clients in a training session. And how do I make sure that I have their attention is by watching their facial expressions and asking questions. The same thing happens when we're in these live with whomever, is that if you're putting questions into the chat and they're actually reading it, now you can read their facial expressions. Ask Michael a question and watch his facial expressions. It's a give.
Oh yeah, and he gets so
Yeah.
mad. I mean, it's so misplaced. I mean, he's yelling at his damn paid subscribers on our special paid subscribers.
Yeah.
Like, why are you yelling at
I mean, I'm chuckling because,
him?
it's unfortunate that
Which I just sent that. Sorry.
anyway.
No, Trump. In the thing that I was listening with Trump, I just tried to send it. I'm sorry, my S doesn't work, so I'm like control being an S in there. Anyway, this they played Trump's sentences, or I mean, if you look at a written transcript of what he's speaking and compare it to something he did just even 3 years ago, like he could finish sentence and he was smart and he had a command, but he has a lot of difficulty understanding even what's going on in the moment. But it could be drug related as well. I mean, there's probably a lot going on with him that we don't know. The Dr. Liddon believes that he's on Kisunla, which is a IV medication
Yeah.
for dementia. And that would explain why he has to get a cognitive test every few months to see if the medication's working. There are other side effects with the medication where you need to get cognitive testing. And
Yeah.
also MRI. You need MRI to make sure I think there's some blood clot issues, or I'm not really sure what she said. I can't remember, but it would involve an MRI
Yeah.
to look at blood flow to the brain.
Well, if we know that, so if you were to ask me, do I think that his ear is real? No, I don't. I think it was staged.
That did not happen. I'm sorry. I used to own an AK, and I would use it to shoot through this manhole cover that's an inch thick.
Yeah.
If that thing got anywhere near your ear, my dog bit off part of my ear. My dog bit off part of my ear.
You grow back?
No. You see, this whole part of the thing. We would see a scratch, and there are pictures of him with Netanyahu literally 3 days later, and there's not even a red mark on there. I mean, it did not happen.
No, it did not happen. So anyway, you know, what's the goal? The goal is out, 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 get them out, right? So 2026 midterms. This is why we're doing what we're doing with what Lev is doing. What's going to happen after January 1 when Lev goes out on the road? And he's going to do that. He's going to go out and he's going to be hitting different cities. He's going to be
Well,
out.
this is so sad because I thought he was going to go with Michael and Malcolm and all this. I am sort of from the vein that I wish they would work it out and everything would be okay because we need each other. But at the same time, I am afraid that there's something that's dramatic that might happen with Michael, and that would be unfortunate.
Actually,
I hope not.
we don't need Michael Cohen.
True.
We don't need Michael Cohen.
Well,
What we need is
he has 80,000 followers. I didn't realize that. He said that today.
80,000 followers. So do me a favor, take a look at where he is in U.S. politics on that list.
When you showed that list yesterday, I'd forgotten about it. I never look at statistics, but you guys, Cheech was 63rd yesterday in world politics. I think it's so.
Actually, I'm actually higher now. I'm like 9 away from Michael Cohen.
No.
Yeah. I saw that. And first off, it's everybody that is my subscribers, free, pay. It's because of you. When you restack, when you hit like, all of that's whatever algorithm that they use. That's how we move up the ladder. Okay.
Okay.
That's how they move up the ladder. So that whole episode with
Good to know.
with MTN, right? When you were poking the bear, and then I answered a lot of questions on my Substack and on the Substack that was tied to the video itself. The response rate, everybody restacking, everybody either hitting like and restacking. That would drive the algorithms and drive it higher. So what I'm asking for everybody, Patricia, thank you for subscribing. I really do. And free paid, just so you know, if you get a paid subscription with me, if you become a paid subscriber, 100% of that I get from you, and it goes through Stripe, that I get from you, I donate directly to Ukraine. It goes to generators for Odessa, 100%.
That's so great, you guys.
Stripe it usually takes 3, sometimes 4 days for it to go from once you pay, for it to go through the process, the Stripe, where it shows up in my Stripe account, and then I transfer it, and then I donate it. So, right.
That's amazing. So you guys, you know that your money's going to a good place if you donate to Cheech, or I mean, if you become a paid subscriber to Cheech here on Substack.
Yeah.
And I just, Cheech, you have such a great, unique name, and seeing it, I always just, even when I very first met you, when you first came on here, and you talked about your fiance, just everything Cheech was Ukraine in my head. So, and I think everybody knows that. So if and then they are on the front line, and you are correct. I believe that whatever happens in Ukraine, if Ukraine doesn't succeed, that war is going to come over here. I mean, we have a vested interest in aiding Ukraine.
So one of my colleagues said to me, "Why do I care what happened over?" Right? And yes, he did vote for Trump. His whole family voted for Trump. Why do I care? He said, we need the money here, not there. We shouldn't be supporting Ukraine. And I said, so let me tell you this. And I told him the same thing that I've just told everybody else, how it was going to happen, how it was going to play out, what was going to happen if he lost Ukraine. And his son has recently, he's in the Marines. I said, so how do you feel about your son going overseas? Because it's going to happen. I said, if Russia gets its way in Ukraine and goes into a NATO country, they'll invoke Article 5. and he's not going to have. He's going to be there. How are you going to feel about that then? Right. So, somebody says you appreciate my passion. You haven't seen anything yet. So, next week, I know I'm working with something with Nick, and is it Shane?
Yeah, Shane, you're up.
We're gonna kind of
Shane, you guys, does amazing work. If you guys don't know who Shane is with the Firebrand Project, and
Yes.
Nick with Banner and Backbone, Nick Paro,
Yeah.
I strongly suggest you follow both of them. Shane, I quoted him today in my his year-end roundup was really good, talking about how the system is changing sort of toward a neo-feudalistic sort of system, and it's a great overview of where it looks like we might head soon.
Yeah.
So
So be watching.
go ahead.
Be watching for that. There's more to come. What was that commercial? Just wait. Yeah. All right. So that is next week. We're still coordinating. We're still working out the times. Um, I have all next week off. I don't go back to being on the road again until I think the 7th of January. Um, Between now and then, the majority of my time is going to be. I want to be on
Right.
with you guys. We're all family here, okay? And this is what I talk about. Just so you know, my family over in Odessa, because they were worried. They said, you talk about us, and their concern is that if I say too much, you know, that they could
What do
be
you mean?
some sort of, if I say where they are, who they are. That's why there's certain things that I'm not going to say, right?
Really?
Just
That's awful.
there are bad actors everywhere. And ask, am I right, guys, on the live chat? There are bad actors everywhere. So let's
As good as a babysit.
what have to pay attention to. Next week
Yeah.
I'll be here. Okay. Right. Pat,
Okay.
I really appreciate, I appreciate you. Thank you. This is the first time you and I have been able to do this.
Yeah, this was great.
I think it's fun. I mean, what do you think? How many do we have? We have 222 people in here. Shall I
This
say?
is amazing, you guys. I think this is the biggest one I've ever had.
Shall I say?
Yeah, I usually hover around 80 people.
No, the word's going to get out. So this is what everybody that's in the stack, tell everybody. Let everybody know. Keep an eye out, please. Subscribe to Kat. She does amazing work as well. I'm telling you about me. It's free. We don't have paywalls, and that's what
Yeah, I would never have a paywall. I would never have a paywall. I appreciate my paid subscribers, and I just asked all my paid subscribers yesterday, like, what can I do? Like, what do you guys think that we can do for paid subscribers? That'd be really fun and cool. So if y'all want to become a paid subscriber, let me know. We can do all sorts of things. I mean, we could do therapeutic techniques. I don't know. We could do anything. I'm wide open to all sorts of stuff. So if you,
but
for creative ideas.
So somebody asked, threw me a message, not in the DM, but they said, "Well, Cheech, Lev can't comment on anything that Lev does. We're blocked." No, no, that's not true. I said, Lev. I said you can go into one of the live chat and put comments up just like we do here.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't have to be a paid subscriber to do it. I said he has live when he does his live events. The only one that is paid is when he does story time with Lev.
That's the only one. It's a special event for paid subscribers. Michael does the same thing. Michael Cohen does the same thing. I think the only person I don't like it when someone has a paywall. The only person I pay for who has a paywall is Katie Couric, just because she's such a ninja. I can't not watch Katie Couric. She's amazing.
So one other thing I'll say about MTM. So they said they don't have a paywall. They do. So here's what it is. So if you go in there and you go to say you're going to subscribe, right? It brings you up where it's got the 4 tiles of the good, better, best scenario, right? So the basic, you're paying for the basic. There's only one thing that you'll get is an occasional newsletter. That's it. You can't participate in anything else. So if you want to be more engaged with what they do, you have to go up to a higher tier and pay more. Well, that's why I'm saying don't. I mean, if you want to be part of the MTN subscriber base, okay. But I'm thinking it's a money when it comes to a benefit, where the money would be better spent is with Lev, with Cat, with Nick, with Shane, because this is where you're going to get the truth, the transparency. And I say this even when I get in front of a crowd when I'm training my clients. Transparency is truth, and transparency builds trust. And if you don't have that, what do you got? Nothing.
Exactly. In psychology, I mean that's the therapeutic technique that I've applied in my life for 30 years. I live by it on a daily basis. That in the morning I wake up and my whole day is focused on me being honest, and mostly me being honest with myself about my own behavior. And then next thing you know, you look up and your life is pretty in good shape, and you realize that the stuff going on is somebody else's problem, and it's usually not you. When you're being accountable on a daily basis with your own honesty, and it's a great example for us is in government and at our workplace and in our families. When we all can be honest, there's accountability, and we're seeing what happens when you're not accountable.
Exactly. Wow. We've said a
All
lot.
right. Well, I'm so glad everybody's here. You guys, we really are family. And I mean, I spent Christmas alone yesterday, and there were so many people who were so great and talked to me all day long. And I just really appreciated it. So thank you guys for being so supportive.
Thank you, everybody. I really do.
You guys are the best.
All right.
We're really lucky to have each other. I mean, I really am stoked. It's an amazing thing.
Well, my goal, I don't know if I told you what my final goal is when I get over to Odessa, we're going live. It's going to be live Odessa. I want to show you what Odessa really looks like. Not the bombed out areas. Yes, they're there. That's part of what Odessa is. But that is one beautiful city. And when you see everything, the culture that's there, the history that's there, and you're going, oh my God, it's like a wow. I'll put it
How
on.
long are you going to be there for, Cheech?
Well, my goal is that hopefully in March, April, I'm there for good.
Oh, so from January, you're okay. It's a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I hope to travel in mid. I want to be there for Valentine's Day, obvious reason. But Valentine's Day, spend a couple of weeks, come back, wrap things up here, and then be over there in April, right? I get over there in April, but
In my head, you were going on the 5th, but that's when you're getting your passport.
right. Well,
she's getting her passport.
Here, and I'm being transparency, right? And I'm being transparent here. So what will happen is once I get the visa and I'm able to travel into Ukraine, obviously we're getting married. So once I'm married, I'll be able to get dual citizenship. So I'll have both for the United States and for Ukraine, and I'll have two passports, one for the USA, one for Ukraine.
Okay.
And I'll be there. Yeah, like I said, April is goal is to be there, and I'll be there 100%. The company that I work for, they're also international, so I have the opportunity to be the digital nomad in Ukraine.
How fortunate are you? Are they hiring?
I kind of do that now, where I travel. I can go as far north as Canada, where it says "Welcome to Canada." I can go as far south, in Texas, by the way, and I get down where McLean Airport is. You get so close to the Canadian border. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Right, so close to the Mexican border. My phone says,
yeah,
Mexico. True.
Yeah. There's a part of Texas down there that's it's not like Mexico and it's not like America. We call it La Frontera. It's like
So what do
the
they call it?
frontier. It's like the Wild West.
Didn't understand. They call it the Valley. I said, "What
Yeah,
valley?"
the valley.
And they go, "Oh, it's
It's the Rio Grande Valley.
you."
It's geologically kind of a flat area, so it's a place where we grow like a lot of citrus.
Yeah.
The climate is really great. That's where a lot of like the fruit basket of Texas is down there, pretty much.
That was an experience, that trip. That's for another story. And I see somebody's
I live down there.
Right.
I live down there, and that is a story in itself as well. Yeah, that was an interesting part of my life for sure.
So Maggie, you're a resident of the Valley.
Oh, somebody from the valley,
Yeah, Maggie.
Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie is.
Oh, you're from McAllen. Okay, Maggie. I lived on Padre for a while. I worked on Padre, and then I lived in Westlaco for a minute. My boyfriend was from Harlingen, and I went to school for one semester just at UTB in Brownsville. Yeah, while I was down there.
Small world.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
All right.
Okay, you guys.
Till next time.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm hoping I'll probably hop on next Tuesday. But if anybody wants to come on with me and has some important things to say, I'm all down. Just DM me. So you too, Cheech. You want to come back on with me? You let me know.
Absolutely, anytime. So we never say goodbye. We only say until next time.
Okay, I always say love you. I love you. I do. I love you guys. Y'all mean the world to me. I'm so grateful you're here.
All right.
And I'll see you guys in the charts.
Have a good weekend.
Okay, you guys take care.
Bye.
Bye.